Your father developed and perfected the ultimate steroid. He synthesized it from his own adrenal gland, and then, through long research, developed a super hormone. He called it FLAG. That's right, F-L-A-G. Full latent ability gain.
I'm not sure I'm following you.
Well, science has known for a long time that man, in all of his endeavors, mental, physical, uses very rarely more than 1/3 of his capacity.
And with flag?
Close to 100%.
That's fantastic. All my life, I've been taught to live by the 3 words inscribed in the statue of West Point. Duty, honor, country.
Medically, he's dead now. Bring me a vial of the serum from the lab.
Simon, we can't. We haven't tested.
I'll take full responsibility.
So you used it, flag?
I used it. And you're alive.
It's incredible, Simon. It's not just strength and agility. It's vision and hearing.
If I'm not thinking about what I'm doing, I could hurt or kill somebody.
Steve, I'm authorized to offer you a job.
For your scrap.
They ridiculed your father, remember? Called him Captain America, and finally murdered him. Be Captain America, Steve.
He detonated the bomb at exactly 11:58.
They meet our demands, we will prevent the devastation.
I go in there alone. I want the name of every member of your gang.
Are you worried about me?
Maybe.
What do you say, Steve? Do we put Captain America on a permanent basis?
Captain America debuted at the perfect time in American history. On the cusp of World War II, he showed up on comic stands landing a right hook on Adolf Hitler in Captain America Comics #1 in March 1941. When America entered the war several months later, Captain America became a timely symbol for the patriotic ideals that America was fighting for, and his adventures wowed kids by taking on the Axis powers. Steve Rogers, a young, skinny fine arts student, is horrified at the reports of Nazi activities in Europe. Anticipating America's entry into the war, he attempts to enlist in the armed forces, only to be rejected for his weak physical condition. However, he gets chosen as a test subject for an experimental super soldier serum. Operation Rebirth commences and transforms Steve into the perfect physical specimen. The inventor of the serum is killed by a Nazi spy. Having only committed the serum's formula to memory, not really the best idea, the unexpected murder of the inventor ensures it can never be duplicated again. So Steve gets a patriotic costume, designed from one of his own sketches. He gets his trusty shield, a sidekick named Bucky, is given the name Captain America, and is sent out to fight any enemies that threaten the United States. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. In 1944, Cap was the first Marvel superhero to make the leap to the big screen in a 15-part serial adventure.
Hold it.
Captain America.
What's happening in there?
There were a lot of changes made to the character in this transition. Cap is no longer Steve Rogers, but a district attorney named Grant Gardner.
Mr. Merritt and Mr. Norden are here to witness your demonstration of the vibrator.
We're not the only ones who know the secret of Lyman's dynamic vibrator.
His costume looks generally the same as the comics, in a cheap, underoos kind of way. I mean, he's got the A and the star and all that, but he doesn't have his shield and instead just carries a gun, which is kind of weird to see. Bucky is nowhere to be found, there's no mention of the super serum, and the villains aren't his popular adversaries during this period, the Nazis, but instead just typical bad guys, 1940s hoods. He faces the quintessential cliffhanger every 15 minutes and naturally survives them every time. It probably gave the kids back in the day a real thrill.
When Captain America throws his mighty shield, all those who chose to oppose his shield must yield.
After the war ended, Cap's popularity waned, but he never fully disappeared. His comic story would continue, and he showed up in cartoons and stuff. Once again, the setting, the late 70s and CBS. Can you take a guess? Yep, another superhero television movie. This time starring Captain America. At this point, it seems like CBS only had superheroes on its channel. So the first movie, simply called Captain America, is the origin story. This time the lead character is actually Steve Rogers. But that's about the only thing that adheres to the comic story. He's an ex-Marine and struggling artist played by Reb Brown. We're told his father was a 1940s government agent who was nicknamed Captain America by his enemies. Back in the day, his father developed this super steroid, which now scientists are at a standstill with. So Steve is contacted by Dr. Simon Mills, who asks if he would volunteer for some tests. The steroid is based off his father's own cells, the same cells that have been passed down to Steve. So they're hoping with some tests they'll make a breakthrough. But Steve doesn't want to be a part of it. He bids them adieu and sets off down the road to find himself and focus on his art. A very hippie kind of thing to do.
Good luck to both of you.
But soon fate steps in, as any audience member can expect. Steve is in a motorcycle accident and is near death. Nothing is working. Finally, Simon makes a decision to use the steroid on him, in the hope it will revive him. And guess what? It does.
Simon!
Steve's life is not only saved, but he's enhanced with strength, speed, agility, hearing, and all that good stuff.
There's no rejection. There's no cell rejection.
Unfortunately, he still doesn't want to cooperate with any testing on him, and he just wants to be left alone. But very quickly he sees some action as he's on some bad guys' hit list, and we start to get a glimpse of Steve's new abilities. Not that it's that impressive.
Well, Mr. Rogers,